on 3FM 92.7. We're streaming live as well on YouTube on 3 News as well. And let's settle for the issues for tonight. Here on the table this evening, campaign teams of flag-bearer hopefuls of the new Patriotic Party ascribe victory to their positions on the ballot. But is there any magic to the numbers, really? We have a conversation tonight. Stay with us here on Ghana Tonight, including this conversation about the 4 million development fee, which never goes away. Trade Union Congress is demanding government to take decisive measures in the fight against illegal mining as a Chebi water treatment plant in the eastern region remains shut due to turbidity levels in the intake of water. Also, the Kwanyako headworks remains shut as well. Now, tonight we join you together with over 800 lawyers, their families, friends today called to the bar, including our two wonderful colleagues, Joseph Akablay and Sixtus Don Olo. If you have been called to the bar, this is the place to be because we have something special for you. You're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The Attorney General is currently prosecuting about 1,500 cases of illegal mining following series of arrests made by the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat this year. With steps ongoing to set up special courts to decide these cases, government says it is aggressively dealing with the menace head-on. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources says it is prioritizing stakeholder engagement with detailed plans to sustain the fight.
Currently, we have about 400 trained personnel from the NIMOS team, and based of that conversation, we are deploying all 400 of them to these security zones. They have been categorized into 21 hotspots nationwide. The teams are going to be kept there permanently. And so we are not having a case where they go into the forest, they clear them, or they go on the water bodies, they clear them, and they, the miners have an opportunity to go back.
A member of the new Patriotic Party's Presidential Election Committee, Barbara Benissa, has called on party members to prioritize peace and unity as the party approaches its presidential primaries. She made the appeal during the balloting process for positions on the ballot paper, emphasizing the importance of maintaining party harmony ahead of the crucial elections.
All MPP needs is unity. Let's come together, work together, listen to each other, and be each other's keeper. That's what we need now. Without that, we can't be anywhere.
Media General was not left out of the celebration of legal brains at the 2025 call to the bar ceremony. Two staff members, Sixtus Don Olo and Joseph Akablay, joined the over 800 others to be called to the bar at the Accra International Conference Center on Friday, October 10. Here is what the new lawyers had to say after achieving this huge milestone.
If it's taking you long, maybe you should just look at my story and know that you can always get it done. It's up to you deciding that this is what must happen.
I mean, it's been a childhood dream for a while now, so it's taking long, but it's finally here, and I look forward into the future with a lot of hope. I think it requires a lot of hard work, basically, and hours and hours of reading and everything. So that has been the challenge always, but God has been kind and merciful and ensured that everything went on smoothly.
The Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, says Ghana is clear about moving beyond the exports of raw cocoa beans to building a cocoa economy that empowers farmers and creating jobs. She has therefore asked the European Union's Sustainable Cocoa Initiative to be partners to ensure investment in the sector to help improve the livelihoods of cocoa farmers. The Vice President was speaking at the EU Sustainable Cocoa Initiative discussion in Brussels on the last day of the Global Gateway Forum.
We need structured, blended financing models that combine capital investment with affordable working capital, risk-sharing mechanisms, and technical support that reaches even small rural processors. EU Sustainable Cocoa Initiative and the Global Gateway Framework are well placed to capitalize and to crystallize this. The recent cocoa price hikes, largely driven by cocoa imports and supply shortfalls, underline the need for this joint action.
Finance Minister Dr. Kaseo Atuforsen says Ghana's commitment to fiscal discipline has been key to securing a staff-level agreement with the International Monetary Fund under the fifth review of the $3 billion extended credit facility program. He maintains that the government's prudent management and sustained economic reforms are driving growth, reducing inflation, and stabilizing the cedi.
There's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. And coming up next on Ghana Tonight, campaign teams of flag-bearer hopefuls of the New Patriotic Party ascribe victory to their positions on the ballot. But is there really any magic to the numbers? We have a conversation on this, including a conversation on this 4 million development fee controversy, or the conversation that never really seems to go away. We've seen in at least the 2024 elections, in time past, there was some premium that was put on the numbers or the position that aspirants occupy on the ballot paper. But in 2024 elections, we saw at least an outlier in that regard, with that position that the president now, John Dramani Mahama, occupied on that ballot box. That's the ballot paper in 2024, 8th. But a member of the New Patriotic Party's presidential election committee, Barbara Benissa, has also called on the party members to prioritize peace and unity as the party approaches its presidential primaries. She made the appeal during the balloting process for the positions on the ballot paper, emphasizing the importance of maintaining party harmony ahead of the crucial elections. Take a look.
All MPP needs is unity. Let's come together, work together, listen to each other, and be each other's keeper. That's what we need now. Without that, we can't be anywhere. MPP needs is unity. Let's come together, work together, listen to each other, and be each other's keeper. That's what we need now. Without that, we can't be anywhere.
Well, these are the 5 who were cleared by the vetting committee to do the balloting earlier today. With the positions, as we do know, we're going to just recall them just for the uninitiated. If you don't know about it, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, for Vice President, the NPP's candidate for the 2024 elections. Dr. Yao Sedichum, former Education Minister. He was Deputy Education Minister at some point as well, as we saw it. We also have Brian Echampong, and then also we have in here, that is Engineer Kwabena Ejapong, and finally, Kennedy Ohene Ejapong, who, after the balloting today, came tops. In fact, he picked number 1. But this is not the first time he's occupied this position, at least for the flag bearership of the NPP. Well, this is it. Let's put it on the screen right now. After the balloting today, this was the outcome. Kennedy Ejapong will be number 1 on the ballot paper on January 31. Dr. Brian Echampong, former Greek Minister, the Abetifi Member of Parliament, number 2. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, former vice president, former flag bearer of the NPP in the 2024 elections, number 3. Dr. Yawase Duchim, former education and deputy education minister, number 4. And Engineer Kwabena Ejay Ejapong, a former general secretary of the party, also number 5. Now, these positions with the numbers, as you see there, often becomes the basis for the campaign messages of the various candidates every time there's an election. And already the campaign teams of some of the candidates have started ascribing victory to their numbers and the meaning to the numbers that they picked and what they're going to be occupying on the ballot paper. Let's take a listen to a number of them already who have been speaking about it already. But and we also transcribed some of the things that they've been talking about. Kwesi Kwarteng, who earlier today picked for and on behalf of Kennedy Ohene Ejapong, says before he went in, he indicated that they are not so much fixated on numbers. They are of a strong and firm conviction that Kennedy Ejapong's election and candidature is more divine than they can imagine. It's about time that God is using Ken to restore a certain order. A certain order. That order, he didn't go into much detail, but that's what he says, well, defines the candidature of Kennedy Ejapong. But then again, there's another one as well. Let's take a listen to Dennis Miracles Abuaji, who is a communications director for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's campaign team. And this is it. He also says the third position from our dear tradition is coming. Oh, the third president, I beg your pardon, the third president from our dear tradition is coming. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and he adds the 3 love emojis, number 3 on the ballot. Prepare, formidable, winnable. That is win with Bawumia, hashtag Bawumia 2028. And that's what you see there earlier. Dennis Miracles Abuaji posted. Also, let's do this quickly. And then also, we had a number of them also reacting and responding to what really they make of this. So just when Chairman Wontumi was released from police custody, he also used the opportunity to inform delegates of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's number 3 position on the ballot. Take a look at this.
Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia is number 3. All the delegates, we are pleading with you for our future president. Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia is number 3.
Number 3.
And the 3 is the lucky number. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, so that's Chairman Wontumi. Bernard Mfwebwe is the Ashanti Regional Chair of the New Patriotic Party. He was released earlier today after meeting the bail conditions. You remember we called that his lead counsel, that's Andy Apiakobi, last night on Ghana Tonight, and he did indicate that all things being equal, he was going to be released today. That's happened. And so after that release, he did this video and put it out there. Professor Samuel Adujemfi is a political analyst and a senior lecturer at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He's joining us on Zoom right now for a conversation on what has happened earlier today regarding the balloting for the positions on this ballot paper that the New Patriotic Party will be using. But, Prof, appreciate your time. You had said positions on the ballot really don't matter. Is this a position you still stand by, taking into consideration already the messaging that some of the campaign team members of the 5 flag bearer hopefuls of the MPP are putting to their positions they picked today?
Yes, I still believe that the position do not necessarily matter. But I said the other day that, look, we are highly religious and we believe in Judeo-Christian, if you like, prescriptions, Islamic prescriptions, and other religious or denominational prescriptions when it comes to some of these things. So, for example, I said that around this time, it will create a sense of euphoria, a sense of excitement, and they will begin to give some interpretation to it. But I'm sure it will build up from tonight up to the day of the ballot, where they would eventually elect their flag bearer. What is interesting is that amongst the Judeo-Christian believers, quite a number of times they will talk about one representing something else, two representing something else, three representing something else, 4, 5, among other things, up to any of the numbers they can derive some inspiration from scripture. Today, we see that the largest sector of the members of the party are in the 3 major religious, if you like, orientations in this country: Christianity, Islam, and African traditional religion. And so a lot of these, if you like, philosophical persuasions will come from there, and they will try to use that to drive that. So Kennedy's people will begin to think and believe that because he is emerged as number 1, then definitely it's a sign of good omen that he's going to win. I'm sure that the gentleman in number 2, right, would possibly be looking at something around agreement, unity, and all that. I'm sure that the one at the 3rd may be construing it from if his orientation really embraces Judeo-Christian orientation. I'm sure they would also be looking at number 3 as a very significant number in Christian faith. I do not know what it says in Islam, but so there are a lot of prescriptions that will come up. For example, the 5th number, for example, is construed by the Christian faith to be something very interesting, right? And so each one of them, with their team followership, they are spiritual leaders and prophets, among other political marketers and strategies, will begin to define, right, how they are going to market, advertise, position their candidate around these numbers. But I've said it, and I want to repeat what I said. Common sense, how industrious that leader is, how that individual will be able to reconcile the ranks of the MPP in its current form, it is not in good shape. So it is anticipated that those who will be looking for a leader will look for the one who will be able to reconcile the party and make it more viable to win elections again in 2028. So the science of politics, the common sense of politics, the ideas of politics would define the broader, if you like, spectrum of this discussion. And it will not only be anchored on these numbers. It is important to also, for us to appreciate how telepathic this would be, the numbers, the political strategy, and how marketable the individual candidates are. I mean, having the potential to serve as a basis upon which this electoral college will cease to make a determination. But it will not just be based on a certain shady and whimsical reasons, but rather more nuanced and scientific reasons. Above all, I'm of the view that they would also have to be interested in the individual who would have not only party at heart, but also the nation at heart, because Ghanaians know that a flag bearer of the MPP is equally a potential president, and they would want that individual they can trust, whose words can be reliable, and who would be able to even whip up the national sentiment for development and for growth.
And beyond the religious meanings people may ascribe to, which you have clearly elucidated, is it also not the case that some positions on the ballot paper make a candidate more visible and accessible than others? I mean, from your perspective.
Especially if that candidate is marketable, especially if that candidate is likable, especially if that candidate positions himself very well within the scheme of things to project, party and country, and not personal, whimsical, parochial interests. So, in as much as positionality is important, or where an individual may be lying could be important, or could or can affect the psyche of the voter, especially around this time, having discussed earlier, important, likable. Is that candidate a unifier? Is that candidate likable, a unifier, progressive, has the party and the country at heart? When that is the case, it will be easy for voters to find him at the top or at the median or at the bottom.
I just want to, so then what then can the candidates and their campaign teams use these positions for in terms of working to their advantage, the messaging as well as we've seen for the political marketing purposes? You juxtapose the message that they would make out of this position and the viability of the candidature of their choice of who leads the party. So how is that going to work?
Well, you are already seeing the philosophy and the psychological play, which has started already. And even if you place it within the Judeo-Islamic realm, the African traditional religious, and the other orientations, it is both psychological. It's going to play both on the psyche of individual voters, and they need to build right marketing strategy around it. I believe that in political marketing, the product is very important. And here, the product are the candidates. If you are a bad product, you are going to cause some stomach upsets if the people try to consume you. And I'm sure that people want something that is wholesome, an individual who is wholesome, and who will not cause them to stool everywhere, but rather be able to keep their balance going forward in 2028. So I believe that the marketability and the wholesomeness of the candidate will play a significant role in spite key around some of these things. But I think that the MPP has shown faith in themselves. They've been able to do this, at least select or to show who lies on the ballot paper. They are scaling up. They are showing that preparations are ongoing, and definitely in January, we are going to see them have their primaries. The euphoria is beginning to pick up. The excitement is beginning to pick up. I'm hoping that the politics of insult, of acrimony, the loose cannons within their ranks, those candidates who are encouraging some bad nuts within the party, some, if you like, unchecked individuals to, make unwholesome comments against the personality of some of these candidates, must desist from that. And at least if the Electoral College really mean well and they hope that they are part formidable, then they themselves must come out time and again to shut the mouth, if you like, the provosts and
how things are playing out. But I do appreciate you on this. Stay with me, Professor Samuel Edudjemfi, on the point that you're making, and still on this matter of the positions on the ballot paper going into January 31. That's the flag bearer race for the new Patriotic Party. Dr. Jonathan Asantiocho is with me in the studio. He is a senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. He's joining us right now. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening, Alfred.
Now, it's 112 days from today. 112 days. The NPP, all things being equal, will go to the polls. And this is how the ballot paper would look like. We're going to put it on the screen. Just a brief on this, because Professor Edudjemfi has clearly put out some things about the political marketing around these numbers. But then there's some who would look at what happened in 2024, the position that John Dramani Mahama occupied the 8th position, very unconventional in our political history, because it's always been a Sroho, a Sieho, or somewhere. But then you have that 8 number working. So what premium can be put on these numbers?
Well, let me say good evening once again to your good self and to your viewers. There's no political capital that you can gain from this particular numbering. Some of us argue that, look, the MPP picked number 1 before the 2024 elections, and then Mr. Mahama picks number 8. So my argument was that you say you're going to break the 8, and somebody picks the 8. So what else are you going to say? That meant that, look, if you say, oh, we are breaking the 8, you are rather going to campaign for the person who has the number 8. So briefly, the point is that, look, the number you pick, there's nothing scientific about it. What you can make something scientific about the numbering or your position is the fact that the messaging will resonate well with the people that you tend to campaign with. The point is that, okay, so if you pick number 1, you say, oh, number 1, oh, there is that song, coming out, number 1, number 1. So that, I mean, it appears quite easy, right? And if you picked something like number 4, unless you want to interpret that from a numerological perspective, that it becomes a bit difficult, right, using that to rhyme in terms of a song or a campaign message. Other than that, there's nothing scientific about it. There is the numerology, it is just much ado about nothing. While others who believe in that certainly will want to do things that will definitely inure to their benefit. But other than that, I mean, I think that it is all about your resourcefulness. It's about the human resource that you have on the field. It is about your political strategy. It's about your political communication. It's about latching on the disadvantage, right, of your opponent.
Yeah.
These are the most important things when it comes to, political campaigning and messaging and so on and so forth.
I see. Thank you for this. Let's still stay a bit further on this, the flag bearership race for the NPP, maybe beyond the balloting that took place earlier today. There's another issue. Prior to today, was a conversation about the 4 million development fee and whether or not persons who had not paid that would be allowed to go through. Yes, what did we see today? Kwabena Japan, there's no clear indication of whether he is paid or not. But prior to today, at least, yesterday, a member of his campaign team did indicate that he had not fulfilled that requirement or the payment of that 4 million development fee. That's coming up next because former Speaker of Parliament, Professor Aaron Michael Quay, has stated that the exorbitant fee being demanded from the intended flag bearers of the NPP is a suicidal pathway and must be avoided. Now, a stalwart of the party is saying that election was not or is not an auction and the political party could not be for sale. Here are excerpts of what he said, which was published earlier today by Graphic Online, and it says, quote, monocracy is not democracy, and the political party must not be seen to be pursuing that pathway. That's Professor Michael Quay. Of our first flag bearer, Professor Albert Dubois, whose national campaign team I was a part of, was not elected with any monetary consideration or qualification whatsoever. This has followed through reasonable nomination filing fees over the years. It will become a jingoistic malperformance of he who pays the piper calls the tune. There is a need to give the party reasonable and considerable autonomy and not drive it into the hands of deep-pocketed men and women. It is not any money that can be accepted, even if offered. Due diligence is important to ensure sanity and sanctity in the body politics. And also, we saw a man from abroad who came and bought his way to Parliament and disgraced us when he was arrested, tried and jailed in the USA for cocaine. I'm sure for those who are, please, up to the political history of this country, you'll remember the man he's talking about, Eric Amoateng. He references this as the basis for the argument that he makes. He says it's going to be suicidal for the MPP to go on this path, and that's going to hurt the sanctity and also the sanity of our democracy. I don't know if it's one that you agree with, the position that the Venerable Professor Aaron Michael Quay has espoused on this matter of the development fee that we just read.
Well, I couldn't agree more with the venerable professor. But the question that comes to mind is, what did his report say about monetization within the party itself, internal politics of the party itself? Because we do not have access to that particular report. And I'm very much clear in my mind that this particular issue might have read its ugly head in the report. And that's the more reason why he is taking, a stance against this particular monetization.
The monetization?
Yes.
You think it was part of the report? You're just assuming?
I should think so, because you see, whenever money is used in a manner that is detrimental, right, to the development of humanity, definitely people are going to complain about that. And of course, you are virtually creating a situation where so many other qualified members of the party will not have the opportunity to continue to stand, right? To stand and contest for positions that they so desire. Now, my position is that, look, this particular development fee that we are talking about, apart from the fact that it can only propel you, but if they use that to disqualify, that you've not been able to raise this development fund, therefore you're not a viable candidate, they're going to create a serious problem for the party.
Well, that was not the official position of the party at the least. But then again, the Deputy General Secretary indicated that there were guidelines that the various flag bearer hopefuls were supposed to meet. And at least 2 out of the 5 hopefuls did indicate that they were demanded to pay the 5 million. As to whether it was going to be a prerequisite for contesting or not is what was not really clear. But then again, Kwabena Japong, as of yesterday, hadn't paid, but he took part in the ballot. So what's the position?
So the point is that it will be very suicidal on the part of the party to go on that tangent, because I think it is not in any way a qualification for one to contest or otherwise. But if that's why I said that probably it puts you in a particular pedestal as far as the party is concerned, in terms of how you propel yourself, how you appeal yourself to the members of the party, the delegates, and so on and so forth. So it's like it gives you a particular clout within the party. But I will want to believe that that is not a precondition for qualification or otherwise. Because if it is, then definitely they're going to create a particular monster for themselves, of which they will not be able to clear, right? So that is the more reason why the venerable professor, right, is complaining, in a very sophisticated manner, right? He's not coming out plainly, but he's virtually making everybody appreciate the fact that, look, the path that the MPP is going is not the right path. And that is the more reason why he used these, sophisticated ideas.
Right, because if you read it, if you read what he said in that interview with the Graphic, it's quite clear about the danger of monocracy and its impact on our democracy. And the fact that, yes, it goes down to history. Says Professor Dubois, the first flag bearer of the party, that's the MPP, he was a member of the campaign team of Professor Dubois. And he was not elected with any monetary consideration. But then you are a political analyst. You make the strong argument, times have changed. I mean, there's a lot that has become of our body politics, where delegates see this process and these moments as their cash moment, the cocoa season. So they'll make demands. And flag bearer hopefuls will have no choice than to as it were, meet these demands, or you lose out, no matter how bright your ideas are. So that's the reality of our current situation that you cannot run away from, is it not?
Alfred, the point is that probably the party, the mother party itself, from the central point of view, has not come out to explain what goes into the 4 million. Because I have said that, look, you need to put structures in place to ensure that whatever you take from the presidential hopefuls will be those that will be used to offset the cost that these delegates are going to bear.
Right.
And the party is supposed to do it in such a manner that any presidential hopeful that goes beyond that particular tangent to do the unthinkable could be disqualified. So we want to see or think that the 4 million is aimed at something of that sort. Their travel allowance, probably their per diem, their accommodation, right? So they will take away that idea of a presidential candidate or hopeful doing so on his own, right, without recourse to the party. That, in a way, will reduce corruption at that particular level. And it will suggest, I don't know, because these guidelines haven't come out. Because the party is supposed to come out to say that any presidential candidate that is seen, right, doing A, B, C, and D without recourse to the party will be disqualified. That in itself is a Herculean task, but if they're able to do so, that will mean that they are cracking the whip and the discipline, right? They're bringing discipline within the party. That is why I'm of the view that the party could have told, right, the generality of the public that this 4 million development fund is to ensure that all delegates coming from all parts of the country, wherever they are going to centralize, right, to do the voting, it is going to take part of A, B, C, and D. Or if the party doesn't have the wherewithal to take upon itself the cost, right, of bearing the cost of the organization of this particular election, probably that is why they're asking them to pay the 4 million.
Oh, so you want more details about what the development fee is for? Certainly. And why 4 million cedis? Because this comes on the back of some of the aspirants saying at some point they had to give the party money.
Yes.
In the early part of the year, party to run the affairs of the party. You heard Kenneth Japan say that at some point, and there's also saying Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia made some donations as well. So it's about development. In fact, you have some elements within the party say, look, if you can't pay this, then go, because you must show your mettle to be able to raise funds as a flag bearer of the party going into an election.
Yeah, any presidential candidate worth a salt should be in a position to be very resourceful, especially contesting a ticket of the NDC or the MPP. You must be resourceful. You must be networked, right? So that obviously people who believe in your vision and mission, right, will want to fund you. And that is the only way to go. But if you cannot attract these kinds of funding, then definitely you do not in any way qualify to be a flag bearer of any of these two major parties. I hear some people say that, oh, Gen Zs, it is their period and whatever and whatnot. Look, you must live a life worthy of emulation. You must be seen, manifestly seen, to have lived a certain life. You must be manifestly seen to have influenced the life of people, right? In terms of employment, in terms of investment, in terms of manufacturing, industries, and all those things. Because you just cannot tell us that just because you have brilliant ideas, you want to become president. Because people must buy into those ideas, be resourceful enough, be networked so that people can fund that.
In a minute, do you share the fear that Professor Aaron Michael Quay has, that he says there's a need to give the party reasonable and considerable autonomy and not drive it into the hands of deep-pocketed men and women, which will then result in the not preferred candidate being elected, but how much the person can give?
Certainly. I mean, that is the ideal. So why is it the case that the party is virtually complaining in the voice of the venerable professor that, it shouldn't be those who have deep pocket? Certainly, you find yourself in opposition. When you were in government, there was nothing of that sort. It was all about resources being made available for the campaigning to start, and then it continues. But now, you find yourself in a situation where you want the ideal candidate that the people prefer to win. It is not about deep pocket. Deep pocket, as far as our politics, right, is concerned, it takes a lot, because I don't want to think that the venerable professor is creating some kind of hypocrisy, of a sort. Maybe he's sounding a bit hypocritical. Now he finds himself in opposition, and then all of a sudden you have the right words to use, right, the right buttons to press. It should not be the case. At first, when you were in government, you should have pointed out things of that nature. So certainly when Dr. Bawumia became the flag bearer and an establishment candidate for that matter, in terms of resources, there was nothing that he lacked, because we're told that, from the other camp, he was able to pay 400 Ghana cedis to all the delegates, allegedly. And then Mr. Kennedy Japan, who was virtually not in government, but in opposition, was able to 300. And that is the more reason why he was able to match them boot for boot. But if today you are complaining about the fact that it shouldn't be for the one who has deep pocket, then what is it that you are complaining about? Because you ought to have said that when, your preferred candidate and you guys found yourself in government, you ought to have complained in that manner as well.
Dr. Jonathan Sanchotre, appreciate your time. Senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast, thank you for joining us. 112 days away from today, that is the day that the NPP delegates will go to the polls with this ballot paper, with these positions to determine who will lead the party going into election 2028. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, Trade Union Congress demands government to take decisive measures in the fight against illegal mining as a Chebi water treatment plant in the eastern region remains shut due to high turbidity levels in its intake source. Stay with us. There's a conversation on this. And earlier today, the Chebi water treatment plant in the eastern region remains shut 2 months after it was closed due to high turbidity levels in the intake source. As a result of Galamsey, Eastern Regional Correspondent Yvonne Nikwe reports an estimated 30,000 population in 5 communities are grappling to access potable water. Currently, turbidity levels in the Birim River, the plant's water source, ranges between 5,000 nephelometric turbidity unit, that's NTU, and 8,000 NTU. This far exceeds the plant's design capacity to treat water with turbidity levels between 117, that's 117 NTU, and 200 since it became operationalized in 2014. Let's take a listen to the Eastern Regional Manager of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Engineer Paul Cletus Akwanya.
This treatment plant was commissioned in 2014, and at the time of commissioning, we had turbidity of 117 NTU, 117 NTU. And the treatment plant we have, like I mentioned earlier, is a package plant. It is to treat water with turbidity not beyond 500 NTU. But we started having very high turbidity figures at this location. We had figures going as high as 22,000. So when you have 22,000 turbidity, your color is over 45,000. And that when that happens, our plant is unable to treat. So in August this year, when we experienced the 22,000 figure, we were forced to shut down the treatment plant because the pumps we have, right from the raw water pumps through to the high lift, are clean water pumps. They are not designed to abstract or pump dirty water or water that has sand and other particles inside. So when you do that, the pump has moving parts. So the pump will deteriorate, we'll have to repair at a very frequent rate. And then doing treatment, apart from the increased chemical cost, we have to throw away a lot of water because you have to desilt continuously. At the point they have to even leave the drain line continuously on, because when you close, because you have to shut and then desilt at a particular interval, you'll be having what we call turnover. The water will not settle. Now when you add the coagulant, the flux are supposed to form, settle, then the clean water decant for filtration. But at certain times that will not happen because of the level of siltation. So when you get to that extent, all you have to do is to shut down the treatment plant. So as we speak, Chebi Water Treatment Plant has been shut down for about 2 months now because the turbidity figure has gone beyond what the package plant we have over here can treat. As at yesterday and this morning, we're having figures averaging between 5,000 and 8,000, which is still way beyond what the plant can treat.
Congress, that's the TUC, was at the facility to observe the turbidity levels of the water. General Secretary of the TUC, Joshua Ansah, says it is time for government to take decisive action beyond the rhetoric. This is the TUC Secretary General. Take a look.
We have seen the damage. We can confidently describe the situation as a heinous crime being perpetrated on Ghanaians by the activities of the few greedy criminals. It is clear to us that if Galamsey is not stopped, Ghana Water will not have any water to treat for us in the next few years. Galamsey is a threat to our collective survival. The state and our government can no longer stand aloof, failing to act, and is shaking government's sacred responsibility to protect Ghanaians and the future of their country. And acting half-heartedly is equally unacceptable. The TUC demands decisive responses and action from government on Galamsey. Enough of the...
Well, that's the TUC Secretary General Joshua Ansah. This is Ghana Tonight. We're back shortly after this quick break. There's a lot to celebrate here at Media General from our colleagues who've been called to the bar. Our colleagues as well are winning GJA awards tonight. So stay with us. Welcome to the celebration table after this quick break.
No matter why you're everybody go
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7. Coming up next, join us. Let's celebrate tonight because over 800 lawyers who were called to the bar today includes our very own wonderful colleagues Sixtus Don Ulo and Joseph Akablay. If you have been called to the bar today, well, we celebrate you in our very own unique way. But I want us to take a listen to our colleagues earlier today. Do not seek to know the price of everything and the value of nothing. Those were the words of the acting Chief Justice to the newly minted lawyers. But first off, let's take a listen to Sixtus Don Ulo, our very own, earlier today. That's the man on the screen there. And he shared his journey, the wonderful memories to this point with us. Take a look.
You long, maybe you should just look at my story and know that you can always get it done. It's up to you deciding that this is what must happen. My late father had always shared this dream with me. Maybe the inspiration came from him to become a lawyer. And I had always prayed that he will see me. In fact, we had talked about he watching me in court. Unfortunately, he's passed. He's not even here to see this day, to talk about seeing me in court. But I believe that we share the joy with my mom, with the rest of my family, and the people who believed in me.
And it's been a childhood dream for a while now, so it's taken long, but it's finally here, and I look forward into the future with a lot of hope. I think it requires a lot of hard work, basically, and hours and hours of reading and everything. So that has been the challenge always, but God has been kind and merciful and ensured that everything went on smoothly.
I'm very confused too, but I think it's just hard work and prayers. So much. They helped me so much. They were very understanding. Anything I wanted, they provided. So I'm so happy. I'm grateful to them.
To read law is good. I would say that everybody can do it. But before you can do that, then you must have a strong mindset. You must have the right attitude. And then your effort must be limitless.
It's been a very, very stressful period, last couple of years, but we are here.
I recall, times you need to retake a paper and you have to mobilize yourself, re-strategize and get it done. The most important, keep your eyes on the ball and make sure that at every point in time you are improving, changing the style of answering questions, more important, the approved ways in order to go through. But never be discouraged.
Never be discouraged. Those were the last words of Carbonate Esquire. We've added a few very important letters to their names. It's important because you see, now Dennis Barberi Wedam Esquire, senior amicus.
Yes, amicus, that's right. Senior in a sense, yes, because at least today I have juniors.
Indeed.
And congratulations to all those who are called to the bar today. I mean,
Absolutely.
all that they say in there, no one in there has lied.
True.
It's a stressful journey. Some have told you how long they've spent in the law school.
Absolutely.
10 years. Others, they will not mention, but I mean, it's really a stressful journey. So I'm happy to see that. So when you see them rejoicing, it's not just about completing the course, but the thought of having gone through such a strenuous process and now knowing that at least I am out of it for the moment.
But
of course, there's something bigger lying ahead of them. They would later discover that, out there too, it's a different ball game altogether. But there's cause for celebration. We celebrate with all of them.
Yeah.
We're there with our colleagues.
Absolutely.
Joseph Akablay.
Yeah.
New Day host.
Yes.
Sixtus Don Ulo, producer.
3FM
Sunrise. All there.
Good stuff. It adds on to all the value that we give to our viewers and our listeners. And right there, those two, they add on to the quality that we're assuring you here. And you did the special crowning earlier today.
Oh, that was me right there.
Yeah, that's you right there.
Assisting Akablay to adjust his wig properly.
Absolutely. You had to do it right.
At a point, he was already complaining that he was feeling heat underneath. So I said, okay, this is what you subscribe for. You have to be in it. And Shadrach is also in there.
You're going to be wearing it.
Of Morning, New Day. You have
Abdallah in there as well.
There. Key point producer.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Napo
is in it. Yeah.
Napo. Then you have Mauna and the team. We had our own, celebration on the side.
Precisely.
That's Johnny Hughes right there.
Yes, of course. Johnny Hughes had to be there because his producer has been called to the bar.
Absolutely.
So he needed to be there.
That's right. You know what?
But of course, it was a proud moment. Beyond our own colleagues, I mean, there are others out there who are also being celebrated for being called to the bar. We wish we could celebrate everybody, but these are just a few pictures that we put together. If you are lucky to see yourself in here, we celebrate with you. This is not to say this is an exhaustive list. 800 and more. A few of you made your way onto
Congratulations to all of you.
Yes, all of you. Yeah.
All of you.
JJ, I see him there.
We celebrate this moment and all the hard work that you put in. At least, if not for nothing at all, we have an idea of how that's our man, Joseph Akable, together.
Joseph Kofi Frimpong Akable,
Esquire.
Yes.
Yes. Together with Sixtus Don Ulo, the work they had to put in.
Yes, that's Kabunati, Esquire.
And so we know the demands of this, looking at our own colleagues and what they are to do as well. So this is some great stuff.
Kwame Osu on there.
Yes, and
this is Erica J.
Eric has been celebrated, quite extensively.
Precisely.
Sixtus Don
yeah.
The man Sixtus, yes. And
Don Ulu from Ulu.
Esquire. Now, if you omit it, you'll be held for contempt, is it not?
Yes.
There you have it, and quite a number of them.
Emmanuel Hoxton is the graphic court reporter.
Perfect.
Called to the bar.
Well, then,
so this is just our own small way of saying we celebrate with all those who've been called to the bar today. We owe Edward Kubati. This is Benjamin Alpha Edu.
Yeah.
Oh, Isifu Kenkeni, Esquire. Congratulations to you guys.
So many.
This is Walasi. Congratulations to you.
And this is we celebrating you in our very own small way. There you have it. And there's so many of them. And this is the best graduating law student.
Yes.
Teya Fuseni. Daughter of Alhaji ABA Fuseni.
Yes, Latifa Teya Fuseni.
A former member of parliament. And also, he was a former Daily Graphic editor.
Yes.
Alhaji ABA Fuseni. Congratulations.
One-time journalist. Yeah.
He was giving birth to the best.
And he was excited.
Graduating.
And deservedly so.
Absolutely.
I mean, the man whose daughter carried the day, he was there as well.
Perfect.
So congratulations to all the new lawyers. This is from us on Ghana Tonight.
Absolutely.
And especially for me, welcome to the bar.
And to senior amicus. Sylvia Ampofol, all those who were called to the bar today, congratulations to you. And we say congratulations to our colleagues as well who are winning GGA awards as we speak. There's
yes.
So Castro Senyala has just won the Best Conflict and Security Journalist 2024 at the GGA Awards in the Upper East Region GGA Awards.
So
there's a regional award.
Best Governance and Accountability Reporter for the year in the Upper East Region as well.
So 2 awards for our very own Upper East Regional correspondent tonight. Castro Senyala, we celebrate you. Congratulations to you as well. So before we go, tomorrow at 7 a.m., we have another social contract with you on The Key Point. These are my guests for tomorrow. We have a very important conversation, as we always do, the key issues on the table. Felix Kwachiofosu, the Minister in charge of Government Communications, is going to be joining us. Engineer Dr. Kenashigbe will be here. And also Kofi Bentil. We would have Martin Pebo as well, Alfred Apia, data analyst. And then also we would have Mr. Stevenson Boateng as well joining us. The President call on something more to be done to crack down on the dissipation of public funds as captured in the Auditor General's report on a yearly basis. Our poll tracker is going to focus on the economy this time around, looking through the lenses of the producer price for cocoa and how it's is also impacting on our economy. The fight against galamsey is also on the table tomorrow. So make a date, 7 a.m. with me, together with the team and our guest for the key point. My name is Alfred Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you.